Hello everybody, back again with an update. First one in about a month, but basically I get paid once a month, so that's when I usually get my films, and then try not to buy any more through the month, but sometimes it's hard to resist. So I'll firstly show the few new Arrow ones I've got. So After Midnight, I think this is a new film about a guy that's broke up with his girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever it is, and then a monster starts trying to get in his door. As you can see on the front cover, he's put his claw through it. Um, and his friends and that don't believe him, but yeah, I'm not sure whether it's a real monster or whether it's the monster as a metaphor or an allegory for a breakup, but I'm going to watch it soon to find out. But yeah, I read some reviews before I bought it and heard quite good things about it. Next we've got Silent Running with a slip cover. I haven't seen this in a long time. I used to watch it when I was a kid. We had it recorded on VHS when I was a kid. I think I used to get this mixed up with Black Hole, and there's another one. Can't think of the name of it at the moment, but sort of late 70s/80s sci-fi films in space that I used to watch when I was a kid. Yeah, you got Black Hole, and what was the other one? Not sure, but yeah, this. Yes, I'm going to watch it again soon, see if I can remember it. But it's got Bruce Dern in it, who's one of my favourite actors. It's kind of a family film. I think it's actually quite pertinent because it was made years ago. Yeah, it's basically talking about global warming and how we're not going to have enough plant life, so they've got like greenhouses on space stations, and Bruce Dern attends one, and then the story develops from there. My Stepmother is an Alien, Dan Aykroyd and Kim Basinger. This is quite a what's commercial. What's the film? Not very cult. Let's put it that way. Released from Arrow, really. I'm quite surprised, even though it's a good film. It's got Alison Hannigan from American Pie and she Buffy or something like that. Anyway, she in one of her first roles on the left where my thumb is as the kid. It's quite funny. I haven't seen it again since, well, I was say a kid, since I was like a teenager, and I did enjoy it back then. I'll have to watch it again now. And that one's with a nice slipcase as well. Then you've got Take Back the Night, which is, I think, quite a new release as well. This woman that directs it, it's an allegory and a metaphor for sort of sexual assault. So there's like a monster following her, but you know, is it really a monster or is it the metaphor? So again, a bit like the After Midnight one, but I think this one, from what I've read about After Midnight, this one's sort of more of a deliberate metaphor, whereas until I watch After Midnight I won't know, but this is quite what's the word, sort of cathartic, I guess. Yeah, it's an enjoyable film. Quite a weird monster in it. What else? So now on to the non-Arrows. So you've got Toy Soldiers, Sean Astin from Goonies and Lord of the Rings fame, and what's he called? Will Wheaton from Stand By Me, and then I think he's in Big Bang Theory, and they make a joke about him and that. But anyway, never really heard of this one before until I'd seen it was coming out. Didn't ever see it back in the day, which is a shame because then it'd be more nostalgic. But yeah, I was actually surprised how good this is. Kind of got a feel of, say, Stand By Me, but for an older audience. And it's got some kind of teenage kids kind of vibes. But then when the violence happens, like headshots and that, it is quite sort of brutal and jarring. So yeah, even though it's only a 15, there is only a few sort of acts of violence. But when the violence does happen, it is pretty intense. But yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed that. So basically, if people haven't heard of it, it is an underrated film. But basically, there's these kids that are in like a military school and they're naughty, and they've been, well, I say kids, like early 20-year-olds, I guess they're meant to be late teens. And they've been kicked out of all the other schools, so they go to this one. It's their last chance, and then basically the school gets taken hostage by terrorists, and the police and that can't get in to help. So the naughty kids have got to sort of fall back on all their traps and tricks and daring and pissing off teachers and that to actually do it to the terrorists and escape from the school. But obviously I won't tell the outcome on that, but no spoiler, that's the sort of storyline on the back for terrorists and that. But yeah, really good, surprising film. Smile. Once you see it, it's too late. Yeah, so I hadn't really heard much about this, but the reviews were quite good. Just star-wise, I didn't really want any spoilers I've not seen. I try not to watch what do you call it, trailers, because I find they just show too much and spoil the film or show every single scary moment. And when you watch it, the only bits you haven't seen is sort of dialogue and um, padding and but yeah, I was actually quite surprised at that one. I thought it could go either way. It could be scary, where it creeps you out when the people start smiling, or it could be silly and you sort of laugh at it. But they pulled it off well enough, and the acting was good enough so that it did. When they were doing the evil smile, it was sort of creepy. But yeah, it's deeper than that. Kind of sounds like some sort of cheap B movie smiley kind of thing, where if anyone's heard of Smiley, it's like a slasher film. Well, yeah, I thought it was going to be a slasher, and it could have been silly, and but it's a bit more along the lines of It Follows, and but yeah, it has actually got a bit of depth and twists and things. But yeah, again, was quite impressed by that. Quite scary. It made me jump a few times, and some really creepy sort of tension building scenes. Then you've got Lake Mungo. This is on Second Sight Films, which are my favourite labels. I watched this one last night. A real slow film. And it's all done in a sort of documentary style, but it's got a really dark atmospheric vibe, some real like beautiful cinematography. The acting's so realistic. Obviously, it's done in documentary style, but the actors are really good in it. It's a few quite shocking scenes actually. Not really the violence. It's like the sort of aftermath that you see sometimes is, yeah, it's played sort of for emotional sort of scares, I would say, if that makes sense. Yeah, I was quite surprised at this one. Heard of it before, but I used to always get it mixed up with the Poughkeepsie tapes for some reason, so I thought I'd already seen it. But yeah, that's a really good one. I've not watched this one yet, but I heard about it years ago, back when I Hell Driver, back when I got Meatball Machine and Tokyo Gore Police and all those kind of crazy Frankenstein versus Dracula girl, whatever it's called, all those crazy kind of hype, Itchy the Killer, crazy hyper realistic sort of comic book gore films. And this one I heard is up there just in craziness and that, saying strong gory violence. I don't know if it's up there with sort of Tokyo Gore Police, but apparently it's like balls to the wall crazy. So looking forward to watching that one. And that one I think is a Japanese film. Then you've got Boiling Point. Slipcase on this has never actually come with the little sticker thing for some reason. Once I open well, I say sticker, the little sort of clear round bit that sticks it on to where it says Stephen Graham on Boiling Point, so it just slips off all the time. Yeah, this is a special edition. Not watched this one yet, but he's a really good actor, this guy. I think he was in not American History X, what's it called? This Is England. And he's sort of a hooligan in it. I think he's called Combo. He plays real good. But yeah, I've seen quite a few like dramas on ITV kind of things with him in. So yeah, it's basically a restaurant on the busiest night, and they don't really say what happens, but it's already busy. And then something goes on, and it just gets out of hand and crazy, and it's meant to be quite a tense sort of dark kind of slow burner, which I do like. And one is it second? Let me have a quick check. Let's see on Second Sight. So I've got a few of these now. Also got Session 9 and the Changeling, the big boxes. So I really like those editions. So, but yeah, the reviews for it are really good, and I've seen films like this before, so I know what kind of. I think it might be a bit like maybe not sorry, but say Kill List or The Machinist. Those kind of just dark, tense, sort of slow burners, which are my favourite kind of film, like Session 9 as well. And then 8 for Silver. Don't think it's spoiler to say it's a werewolf film really, kind of obvious from the title and that, but yeah, I was really surprised at this. Probably the best film I've seen. Well, so I say new release, I think it was about 2 years ago. I've seen Cody Leach reviewed it in America, but it was at a film festival, and maybe because of COVID and that, it took a long time to actually get released, but heard good things about this. People saying it was a modern classic and sort of best horror film of the last year, and it does live up. It's like really well acted, well paced, sort of period. So it's set in sort of late early 1900s, I think. Like, it does skip time a bit. Real brutal, some sort of quite gory, disturbing scenes. Good creature effects. Good gore. Pretty intense the way the beast ravages or mauls the victims. Really good setting, good acting, dark kind of vibe. There's also other sort of stories going on at the same time as the werewolf things, with the relationships between the family and that. But yeah, I was actually not only pleasantly surprised, but I say put this in my top 5 werewolf films, with American Werewolf in London, Dog Soldiers, The Howling, this 8 for Silver, and then Silver Bullet by Stephen King, which I've only seen recently. So yeah, it's pleasantly surprising. So I would recommend checking this out if you're into werewolf films or just sort of period. I know a few people find period films a bit boring with, say, the costumes, but because it's in a creepy old like English kind of manner, and then they're referring to the beast of, is it called Gwebedere, which was like in, it kind of has vibes of maybe not as well made a film, but more entertaining than oh, what's it called? The French film. Let me see if I've got it here. Sorry if I'm rambling. Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's more straight up than that. That one's kind of a bit more arty and very long, whereas this one's got more action, and yeah, yeah, pleasantly surprised. Yes, that's all the new ones I've got in the last month, and then I'll come back in about another month with another update, unless I do some reviews or lists of favourite genres and things in the meantime. Right, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.